Let's do this. Let's take this can.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call the regularly scheduled Board of Education meeting for the School District of North Fond du Lac to order with a roll call vote, please.
Chisholm.
Here.
Kowalski here. Hawk.
Yes.
Streeter. Will. Here.
Board of 5, so we have a quorum. Thank you. Report on public notice, please, Mr. Zero.
You bet, President Chisholm. Public notices and agendas were mailed to the Fond du Lac Reporter radio station KFIZ 107 The Bull, WFDL radio, and agendas were posted in the district office, U.S. Bank, and municipal building on Friday, October 20th, 2017.
Thank you very much. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. The minutes of the previous meeting were distributed in the board members' packets. Does anyone have any additions or corrections to the minutes as published? Hearing none, they'll stand approved as presented. Treasurer's report, Mr. Seato.
Sure. And Lou, Mr. Streeter, he is at the Village, has some budget hearings and meetings tonight, so he's going to try to get here. Cash balance on hand, September 25th, 2017, $13,764.43. Receipts for last month, $88,367.67. We transferred $1.4 million to help with making our payments, so total receipts were $1.5+ million. Expenditures were $1,398,751.65. And that is the same amount, the $398.75 or $751.65 are the bills that are recommended for payment as shown on the attached list dated October 23rd, 2017, which would, if the board approved and paid, we would have a cash balance on hand of $103 or $103,380.45.
All right, thank you. So bills recommended for payment and $1,348,842.91. Before board action, does any of the board members have any questions about the expenses which were included in the packet? I just had one question, and maybe it's been in there all this time, and we have a student that's transported by taxi.
Almost. So when we have those different students, we have different obligations that we have, so it's less expensive to do that than to put a bus route.
Okay. So what's the board's pleasure on the attached list of expenses for approval?
I'll make a motion to approve the list of bills.
I'll second that. Any additional questions? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Hawk.
Yes.
Will. Yes. Chisholm.
Yes.
Kowalski, yes.
All right, thank you. Next on the agenda, item G, clerk's report.
We have donations from J.F. Ahern donated 15 cases of water to FLC for VIPs, early Monday morning meetings, North Fond du Lac Optimist Club, school supplies and backpacks for students at FLC, and Holiday Auto donated $7,500 for incubator protection.
Also have, this just got Kurt, so Incubator EDU, we're working on getting $80,000. I think we might be close to 30. We have a couple that are still out there, and that's going to do to remodel that room and also help to pay for the entrepreneurial classes and the money for seed money for the students. But also Kurt, last Wednesday, he applied for the Fond du Lac Gives 100 grant. And what that is in our community, 100 people give $100 once a quarter. Of that money, of that $10,000, $2,500 goes into a endowment fund. The other $7,500 is all the people who give $100 are sit in the crowd and then they vote. So 3 people pitch, there's rules, and then you go vote. Well, Kurt got selected to be one of the 3, and he pitched on the idea of our student store, which we would move out to the front of the commons and look kind of like a bird cage. Really cool. Figured out that Mike McDowell and the building trades would build it. We're going to be working with different ones of our vendors to get maybe hopefully the cost or get all the products at cost. Well, lo and behold, he didn't win, but he was by far the best one. I was there. By far the best one, got that over and over. The one who did win did a very good job too. But in lieu of that, I got a call on the way home from somebody who was at that meeting and said that they were very impressed with it. And I just got, and that they want to remain, or this group wants to remain anonymous, but they just donated $7,500, so that will all get built. So that's one thing Kurt is teaching his kids. It's not about what you do, it's about how you put seeds into people's heads. So even though he didn't get that, somebody thought what he did and believes in our school greatly, and they are donating $7,500 to help make that happen.
All right. Is that it? Okay, thank you. Next on the agenda. Item H, Student Council Report. Ms. Monte.
The Horseman Student Council. Homecoming week was a great success. The seniors took home the Spirit Dress, Powder Puff, and Spirit Olympics. The juniors won the float competition. The sophomores won the banner competition. And the Spirit Stick was won by the freshmen. The Students Helping Students School Supply Drive to help the victims of Hurricanes Irma and Harvey was also a great success. Ms. Hintz and Ms. Coe are working on a way to transport all the goods to schools in need. The homeroom competition for supplies was won by Ms. Flood's homeroom. They brought in 1,225 points worth of donations and enjoyed a pizza party for their win. Student Council will be having a school program sale for the high school students this week, October 23rd through 26th. A pumpkin carving and decorating contest will be held on October 30th and 31st in the high school. The winner will win a bucket of candy. Other high school events, including NHS and Key Club. The NHS members attended a service event for Feed My Starving Children on October 13th. 2 hours was spent creating meal pouches to be sent all over the world. By the end of the 2 hours, thousands of meals have been made and 62 children will be fed for the year. It was an amazing experience for both students and chaperones. Plans are in the works for attending a second event in April and involving more students. The Key Club members attended the Halloween hike at Monty Lake on October 20th. The students acted as hike guides, characters along the trail, and as craft helpers. This is a wonderful event for students and adults and a favorite of our Key Club volunteers. Bessie Allen Oriole Leaders. During October, the Oriole Leaders were working on the 7 habits of highly successful teens. So far, they have looked at their good and bad habits and have explored the concepts of paradigms. They have also been planning for their PEP assembly, organized Spirit Week dress-up days, and are getting ready for their fall dance and trick-or-treat with the kindergartners. That's it.
Thank you very much.
President Miramonte was wondering if she could be excused to go practice for the pit band. And by the way, if you would like to, on your way out, we have some extra posters here. Fiddle on the Roof is coming up in 2 weeks, I think.
Yes.
So any questions for Ms. Miramonte before she is dismissed? I was down in the theater, as long as we're talking about that, earlier tonight. Tonight was the first walkthrough with the pit orchestra and the cast on the stage, and it's starting to come together very nicely. So it'll be very exciting to see all of our students and putting this together. So if there's no other questions, then yes. Sir will welcome your help.
We will have a nameplate by next time, probably.
Okay.
All right, next on the agenda is citizens input at 7:12 p.m. I declare the citizens input portion of the meeting open, and this is an opportunity for anyone to address the board of any issues that they may have.
Dave, you live in the district, right?
Like being put on the spot. So, seeing no comments from anyone or anyone having a outstanding interest in speaking, I will declare the citizens input portion of the meeting closed at 7:15. Item J, superintendent's report. Take it away, Mr. Cito.
Thank you, President Chisholm. Pretty brief. First, I'll turn it over to Steve. Steve and I went down to Madison last week, Wednesday, Thursday.
2 weeks, a week ago Thursday.
A week ago Thursday, so 2 weeks, 3 days from now. 2 weeks ago, 3 days from now. And there's two sister bills, Senate Bill 260 and AB, or Assembly Bill 332. They both address the Class 2 city voting and why each one of you, when you run, you need to get 100 signatures. So I'll turn it over to Steve, and he did a great job down testifying.
Well, yeah, it was very interesting, very fun. Something, I've always kind of had an interest in this kind of stuff, and to actually be in the Capitol and then have all the people sitting in front of you with their name tags, the people that you read about in the newspaper, who you kind of think, wow, what a knucklehead that guy is, but then you see that he or she is a very, they really believe in what they believe in, and they're doing their job properly and stuff, so. But it was fun. I think we scored some points. There's always somebody that throws out a question, a tangent or thing, and they get kind of caught up in that. And you want to say, well, that's not the most important part. But, I think I stressed, and my part was kind of stressing the fact that we were missing out on maybe some, the people of the community getting full voice in who should be leading the school district by not having people run or having them scared away by the 100 signatures. And in fact, if you didn't know, that's what we went down to testify. Some bills that we had been working with our local legislatures on, so legislators. They seem pretty receptive. It's, the ones who sponsored it from around here were obviously very in favor of it. And I think what's great about it is there's really no downside. There's no opposition group or people that would say that doesn't make sense. I think they were receptive to our uniqueness. That we did find out there are 29 districts total that have the same situation with part of a Class 2 city in their school district. But we've kind of led the charge on it, and we're the only ones who have brought it up and stuff.
We might be the only ones that are legally following it, if the truth be known. Because when you look at Appleton or you look at Racine or Eau Claire, there's a lot of districts that do have land in those cities, and they just have no idea.
Sure. So it was fun. I enjoyed it and would recommend.
So we'll get some other bills going, so we can all go down.
So what committee were you testifying in front of?
The
election board.
Yeah, the Senate was elections and something else, and then the Assembly committee was elections, and they had another thing added on too. It didn't seem to be the same, but they're in and out. And some came late from a different meeting or hearing, and then they had to leave to go to another one and that.
So is the recommendation from here that the bill would get scheduled for the Senate floor and for the Assembly floor?
We don't know.
We don't know.
Yes,
I do have a motion that I'm going to recommend that we take up and discuss and consider that we set a limit in case it does happen. Lisa Freiberg, our county clerk, does a great job. She was one of them that was really pushing the lead on this. She was down testifying also. So was Steve, myself, Lisa, and then also Dan Rossmiller, who was one of the lead attorneys for WASB. So the only opposition is it didn't go far enough, is what some people, they wanted all Class 2 cities, regardless of whatever, that you can decide how many you want to have signed. Right now, it's, if you're a Class 3, it's just, or Class 1 is Milwaukee, Class 2, any land whatsoever. So if there's a piece of land on a highway that's annexed by the city for municipality things, but it stays with the district, that would cause those people to have get 100 signatures to run. And my big thing was, is Steve went to build off of, if one of you decide not to run, which we've seen in the past, then it's a write-in vote. And we know that write-in votes, although we had high-quality people come from write-in votes, 58 votes or 81 votes is not very much in order to be selected as a, plus you don't have the ability for all the conversations and the interviews and things. So I felt like, like Steve said, it's kind of a no-brainer, but that doesn't mean that it will be. So, but hopefully there's action that will be taken care of sooner than later, and if it does, we should be all set up that the board can discuss how many signatures It would change it from 100 to you have to choose, the board would set the limit from 20 to 100. So less than 20, no more than 100. All right,
What is the next level up from class 2 city?
class 1, which is Milwaukee, that's
No,
it.
Well, next smaller.
I don't know if there is class 3.
I think there-
Because
there
there's
is.
class, and Milwaukee's only class 1, it's 175,000, but Madison hasn't applied, there's other
I guess
things.
my point is that if we didn't have that chunk of property in
We'd
the
have
city of
zero.
Fond du Lac,
Lo-
could be no signatures required?
Local can decide. So we could decide, so let's take a Dodge. They can decide how many people, if, they can decide how many signatures if they want, anybody decides.
It's an internal policy.
Before, when we weren't aware of that, we had 0. So all you had to do is declare your intent to run and you were good. So this was kind of like a happy medium where then, if the law passed, and they're both the exact same thing, they're written by Senator Fine and then Senator Strawn, Teensfeld, so they'd be the same exact thing, they go pretty quick, and then the board would get to choose between 20 and 100.
It still gives a person, they still have to make a bit of a commitment,
Right.
even though it gets them out there talking to 20 different people and asking them to support them and stuff. So we still have that. It prevents, when we have no signatures, we have somebody come in at 4:45 on the last day
Sure.
and just sign quick because they found out that nobody was running and, are they really, not only quality, but really committed to the job and that. So. And I've done it when I've talked to people that I thought would be good board members and somebody that eventually did become. Seemed like maybe they were interested, but then they said, oh, by the way, you have to get 100 signatures and it's December and then the holidays are coming. And so the period is effectively shorter than it should be. And think of that, I don't think so.
So I'm feeling good.
Yeah.
You got a good vibe? Yeah. So, the next thing is calendar discussion. I will have a calendar either, and with Rayanne will be next, and we'll talk with her about health insurance. I don't think we're gonna be ready to have a vote on what health insurance we're gonna go with. I'm pretty sure we know, but we have to work some things out. So what I'm gonna do is ask the board if it'd be okay, once we go through tonight, then in the beginning of November, get some information to staff so we can be on top of things that it looks like we are gonna change carriers. It doesn't look like it is gonna be self-insured. So I wanna be able to get that information out, that we would be able to come together for a really quick board meeting to pass a resolution about changing the insurance. So look for that early November. If that's okay, I'll put some feelers out from you later. And then at that time, or actually, I think the calendar itself, this, I apologize that they got away from me, but what I'll do is, this is the calendar, kind of a hypothetical, it's all messed up. But just kind of give you an idea, 2018-19 calendar. So what happened is that we're looking at, because of having construction, I know it's all black and white, but you can mark on that. So, but because of having construction, we can start earlier. The Pope and Tony Evers will allow that to happen. So we're able to start earlier possibly. So it looks like, and I talked with Greg Sobel, if they can get as much time in the summer of 2019 for the remodel of Friendship, that would be optimal. So currently right now, and we're going to be working through this, I've talked with Adam and the administrative team, we would start on the 20th of August, so this summer would be short. Also with the Bessie Allen floor and those, and the playground and parking over at Friendship, we're also gonna not do summer school until the week after July. We're gonna have to get that information out to our kids, especially Carrie Jo. Carrie Jo had a family function that just popped up, so I excused her to that tonight. But we'll get that information out. We'll still, for staff, have the same amount of opportunity for earning money or earning resources. Samantha will have her first semester, the kids that didn't pass, maybe go in the AM and then in the PM another class, so we can get it all done. So we're gonna not have anything going on in our district from the end of school in June, beginning of June, until the second week of July. The only summer school that will be allowed will be athletic weight training, things like that. They can work on that. Also, we're gonna try, I'll bring this to the board too in the family schedule, is that we will not, I would like to start, now DC Everest does this, District 214 in Chicago area, which is right by O'Hare, and other districts from being on some of these national superintendent boards, they shut down for a week. And I think sometimes with their families and our kids, I'd really like us to look at whenever the 4th of July is, nothing happens that week. So there won't be sports, there won't be games, there won't be summer school. Wherever the 4th of July is, if it's on a weekend, it'll be the week before, or whatever, we can figure it out. But whenever that 4th is, nothing. We can ask our hourly wage employees, take vacation at that time if possible. You already have one day off because of the 4th. But I think that would be a good gesture and help us all to kind of just chill out a little bit and get things going. So with this construction, we're looking at some different really neat opportunities that we're going to test that maybe will have legs for later on. So not only that, but one of the things we found out too is we have our in-service before school. We have, if you look at our schedule, what we do is we have 177 student days. This is for a teacher 91-day contract. 3 holidays, 2 conference offset dates, which is because of the conferences. There's days that are worked in to help compensate for that extra time. The 9 in-service days. Currently, we would do 5 in-service days before the beginning of the year. With our new turn to Lucy Calkins and our reading and math, we also know from a data standpoint, we need to be able to focus on our kids and learning and make time to do that. We know in the high school and even in the elementary and the middle, it's hard to get that dedicated time. So what I would suggest is that what we'll do is have 3 in-service days before school starts. So it's a pretty short, so the 14th, 15th, and 16th of August. And then the first academy is a first and second Fond du Lac. That'll be we could talk to some staff who might want to go to that, but that wouldn't be considered their in-service. It'd be above and beyond that they could do. And then what we would do is we would take 6 days throughout the year then, and we would have those as days off for students, but staff would be, and we call them something like student improvement, or student focus, instructional improvement days, where like I could think of 1st grade, 2nd grade, 3rd grade. We get all this data on reading, but there's no time to sit, reevaluate, look how things are going, and then sort through that again. I look at the high school, that really trying to do ACT prep and things like that, but Samantha's done a great thing is now has her PLCs divided by content, so this would be a great time for them to get together and really dial in on Common Core and what are their key elements that they're teaching. I can think about our arts and our tech ed, phi ed, where they can really focus on curriculum. So it wouldn't be work time in rooms, but it'd be how can we improve student achievement and growth and do that throughout the year. Right, Adam? Would you say that's something that we could definitely use because we throw stuff at it, but what are you hearing from staff?
Yeah, I think I think the breakout sessions we've done have been, positive, and people like the choice of kind of picking their own learning, but we tailor that to things we're working on. And I think, from talking to staff, there's still a need to understand how to use student data, and I think these days can help with teaching staff how to do that purposefully and make that impactful for student learning.
And that's where right now we're having a lot of conversations with, especially we have more reading data than we've ever before. But when you go into a veteran or a teacher that is a good teacher and you start to show this information and data, it's very hard not to become personally attached to that student in your process. So we're getting there, and these would be dates that I think could really help us significantly have an impact. So there would be in this calendar, and I'm just showing you overall, there would be 6 days, including February 18th. February 18th is President's Day. CISA 6 is trying to see if we can get everybody in our region to have that day off, and then they would bring in unbelievable speakers and opportunities for, from Watoma down to West Bend that we could work together. And then if you look at that, you would see that we would have, with the schedule starting on the 20th and those days in there, we would have, you have numbers on there, 43 for the first quarter. We would still have the 21st through 23rd of November off for Thanksgiving. We still have a nice winter break there. And then as you continue to go through, you'd see the high school, the semester would be over on the 11th of January. So you'd have like 3 days and then 4 days of finals with 47 in there. And then as you go through, there's other dates, which I will get to. I apologize for the color. April, we'd still have a week off in case there's some that we can move. One thing is that we will be done with our building of that in March, April, if it's a year, which then we have ourselves a whole week if we're going to transfer and do some things and move stuff from, I could think if the gym's open, we can get everything out of the gym so they can start to remodel that music in that gym area. So that would give us some time to move. And then what we would be done is we'd be done on the 24th. And the high school would graduate on the 19th. Talked with one of the things Samantha brought up, great point, talked with Jerry. He's cool with moving stuff up if he has to, and May for all the band stuff and choral things. Anthony, I think, would be very flexible too. So that's kind of what we're looking at. This is rough. I will have it refined tomorrow. The day got away from me. I've had a lot of input and conversations with teachers and from staff. But once I get this done, I'll get it to you. But the idea would be that we would apply and get the ability to start on the 20th of August. We would be done a week before, or that week before Labor Day, if you will. And then that would give us the last week of May, all of June, all of July, all of August. And then we could look at 1920 if we're looking that they need more time to do the remodel at Friendship. Maybe we start in August, maybe in 2019-20, we don't start till the second or third week of September. But we don't have to decide that right now. The goal would be is to give 16 weeks to C.D. Smith to get things going at Friendship. We could still, over here, we would have summer school, all this would be done. This would be taken care of, but then would also give time for remodeling the high school, remodeling over there so that the district office could move, and then remodeling here so that the middle school could move down. So, what do you guys, any feedback?
When would graduation tentatively be, the 27th?
26th, or 19th of May, May 19th. Yeah, all these dates are, yeah, May 19th.
And then everybody else would be done on the 24th.
Yep. And I'll get this cleaned up. Like I said, things came up, we had stuff going on, had a meeting with the Representative Kingsfeld today, good intentions, but this will be cleaned up and to you within a couple days. You can look at it, and then I want to get it out to staff, and then so that they have an idea and we can be good to go. Anything you guys got, feedback, input?
Just the spring break, that's just a long haul for us to see if it would be possible to move it up closer to March.
Yeah, we could try. The one thing about that is it takes in Good Friday, and that's
When
with
is Good Friday?
The
the
19th.
19th. With students would be off on the 15th, the 18th, and the 8th of March also. But yeah, I hear what you're saying.
That's a really late Easter.
Mhm.
Yeah. And the whole
And it's just,
idea,
just when you have that week off and then you have just such a short stint in May, it just makes for a long
it's a Good Friday.
winter.
Darn.
Mhm.
You should be guilty like right now.
I know, I feel it. Yeah, I hear, we could toss that around, figure it out. One of the big things too is that gives you a, like if we do just Good Friday off, and then we take those 4 days and we move them up to the beginning of March, or something like that. I mean, there's things that we can do. Like maybe, yeah, why don't I'll massage and mold this and we'll get you an answer tomorrow. We can talk about it at the cabinet. Cool? Sweet. How about you guys? Any input? What do you think there's any negative feedback on that summer school? Kind of think of that switch. Our teachers get burned out. I mean, we got like 2 weeks off or a week off and then summer school starts. The kids get kind of burned out. I know it's fun, but we don't, like with Dave and his crew, what could you guys do if no kids were around for about 3 or 4
Change our
weeks?
whole summer to a lot more happiness.
Yeah.
We're always pushing them 3 weeks.
It would only be the 3 weeks of summer school?
Correct.
Versus
The whole 6 weeks.
All day long.
Right, it'd be all day long for
Oh.
three
the...
weeks.
Oh, well,
Which they don't have to do. I mean, the kids wouldn't have to do it.
yeah, whatever.
We're not making money on summer school.
No.
Well, some years we do, don't we? When we have the.
Think about break even.
I thought after everything's done and we're back into some type of flow, that to even look at shortening it in total, just maybe half days for 3 weeks or 4 weeks rather than 6 weeks. Was, especially when we were getting a little later, like last year, it was the end of July before staff and students were totally done, and then things turn around real quick in August, so.
You know what I'm excited about? Is we're kind of getting forced, or we're gonna do things different because of construction. So they're veiled over that idea we're doing this with construction, which is 100% true. But lo and behold, they could be great instructional movements too that we would have never tried if we didn't have to do this in order to really, but we could switch up summer school for high school, could have it in the high school at a different time too than at the elementary. We could do a lot of different stuff.
My only concern as a mom who still has a kid who's just coming out of daycare is that we may see a huge drop in enrollment because daycares require that you commit to a certain number of times. So, for instance, I could allow Cameron to go to summer school last year because he could still gain part-time daycare.
Sure.
If I would have sent him to summer school for full days for 3 full weeks, daycare would have said, sorry, you gotta find somewhere else, and they wouldn't have allowed me to do that. They allowed me to take part-time for the 6 weeks and then full-time, and I could keep my spot.
Gotcha.
I'm a little bit worried that we'll completely lose kids and see our numbers drop, and we use those for FTE.
Yeah, but the cost of the people that we employ with those FTE that we count and how that goes, it's a great service, and the one thing, we do get to count them as FTE, but it's not, like how many were we down this year, Maria? 7?
We were down.
3?
Can't remember. I think we were down 5.
5? And our cost didn't go down.
I just think it's good for the kids to have that continued, like, structure for at least part of the summer, and it might help, I don't know, I could be wrong, I'm not a teacher, but I'm not sure how that's gonna play out.
Either. Yeah. The one thing is, the reason we're doing it this summer, so we can get this floor done. And we
And
can
I
get some of these
understand from
here.
that perspective, I'm just not sure about long-term.
Yeah, and I don't either. But that's a cool thing about this, is that we might find it's not A, B, it might be X is the answer, so. So we'll go through that, should be exciting, it'll be fun. How about that summer? Thinking about my daughter graduates in 2019, May 19th. Cool, it's gonna be a long summer. Plus if they go to, or when they go to state for soccer, they'll be in school until mid-May, or June still, so. All right, that's all I have. Anything from, we'll have policy updates. We're doing good on that. Staff compensation, we'll get that going. Matt will be here with the fall summary, and we'll have our all-conference, including Diego Charbonneau, who finished conference all-champ, or all-conference first. We had a whole bunch of guys and girls that made first team and second team. Honorable mention cross-country. Guys won cross-country again. Well, not again, their first time, but third year in a row that we've had a cross-country champion. So looking pretty good, and Matt will be able to give more information about that. And then Fiddler on the Roof, the 3rd, 4th, and 5th, and it should be fun. Samantha?
I was just going to say, there's an article about in the paper too, but Faith Pebbles was a 4-time conference.
All conference.
All conference, thank you. I didn't think before I said it. So that was, quite an accomplishment. Sectionals didn't go as well as we would have liked it, but Diego will be going to state, so Doug's really excited. The kids were, I love that we have one person that is making it state, all the rest of the kids are like, we're here, we're going to work out this week with him, so they're all, running. So he will run on Saturday, I believe at 3 o'clock at Wisconsin Rapids. So, and he's a kid that, he and mom and several of us have talked about his ability to be able to be a runner in college. So he's definitely pondering that.
What was that one place that Disney filmed? What was that, Running Town?
I know.
McFarland.
Yeah, we're like McFarland, Wisconsin. Yeah, so we're cross country. We're gonna rock it. We're like the Kenya of the state.
There you go.
That's what we are. Cool. Without the wildlife preserves with runners. All right. So what I'd like to do now is that, you guys have any questions? Any needs, administrators? All right. I want to thank Rayanne for coming up. What we're going to do right now, so we'll go over to new business.
Yep, so item K, new business, discuss and consider health insurance options for 2018.
All right, Alex, one of Rayanne's co-workers was up here, and we've worked with them really intimately about our insurance, and it's been a great process. We're learning a lot. Horton Group, we went with them. Remember, Linda Mott had suggested them because of what they did for some of our bidding a few years ago. And as time went on, Linda Mott, they ended up just doing one part and of our OPEB, and now we have Rayanne, Alex, and the Horton Group, who I, at the time, have been very, very impressed. As far as they help us navigate when we look at bidding, they help us navigate if we have issues or problems with our insurance carriers. They help us look at, could we be self-insured? And then they like to do a lot of things, and I know that when I meet with them and Maria, we question a lot of things, and we really ask a lot of questions and try to get what's best for our employees. I've been very, very pleased with the information we have. Rayanne's here today because as we dove into this idea of self-insurance, we were able to, because of her ability to communicate and to get United Healthcare to allow a different group to quote us, UMR, which is a subsidy of United Healthcare. We were able to get a quote that actually we think is better than if we would go self-insured right now, and might pave an easier way to maintain great health care, actually have some awesome additions that we don't have right now that would save money for quite a few people, and then kind of look at our future. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Rayanne, understanding that I don't expect us to have a vote tonight, but in early November, I'd like to call you, and then whatever we discuss is pretty much, I think, a great idea, but I want to give some time to run it out and figure things out. So,
I'm just going to pass these out. I will go over the pertinent parts. But as Aaron mentioned, we had some discussions early on. We've been struggling a little bit, the school district and quite frankly the Horton Group, with the process that United Healthcare has gone through on renewals for the last couple of years. So they've been coming out with initial renewals, 35%, 40%. Clearly that's not something we can budget for. We'll do a simple change, we'll do some negotiation, and then suddenly it gets down to, single digits. So that was a problem. We've had some customer service issues, some of them standard transitional issues, but others that have been really dynamic and really driven some people to be like, what do we have insurance for? What's going on here? So we had some dissatisfaction with some of those issues. Because of that, Wisconsin Counties Association Group Health Trust is a trust that has been established in the state of Wisconsin by the Counties Association back in 1992. So they, like the Wisconsin Education Association Trust, had been separate for a long time. They just did counties. WEA just did school districts. Well, now they've opened up their trust to other business. And Wisconsin Counties Association actually has more school districts in it now than WEA. So they have more cities and counties. So it's been they've been trading business back and forth. But we had to, because we were with United Healthcare, the Wisconsin Counties Association is insured, if you will, through UMR, which is the parent company of United Healthcare. Obviously, they don't like to compete against themselves. So what we did is Aaron and I signed the letter. I wrote the letter because it was a little bit more aggressive than Aaron would like to be, just detailing some of the challenges.
no word choices. We have the same goal, we just have
same
different
goal,
ways.
different word choices. I was a little bit more adamant that we were extremely dissatisfied with the renewal process and some of the customer service issues.
There might have been more emotions in the work, but the bottom line is the result was very good.
The end result was that they allowed us to make the exception. So what's good about that is that they came back to us, instead of the 40% increase down to 17, we were at a 3% overcurrent on a fully insured basis. So the school district will operate like that. So we got together last week and we talked to a couple members of the insurance committee.
Maria's very happy, I can see this.
Mr. Hawk was there, and Aaron and Maria were there, myself and a couple of other people from my team, and 2 volunteers. We worked through some potential, what this would look like if we were going to be fully insured. The good news is Wisconsin Counties Association then also has the ability to look at a self-funded contract. The reason that the Horton Group is not recommending self-funding at this time is twofold. First and foremost, when we get through with a couple of the plan design tweaks that we were able to make with some of the things we were able to add, we were able to get down to a 0, so a flat increase. With increases like that, I don't recommend taking on the additional liability